So what do you do when you receive a package back in the mail that is labeled return to sender, undeliverable? Well, I'm going to talk to you about that and what I do on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and today I'm going to tell you how I handle packages that are returned to sender. It doesn't matter if it's the post office, USPS, FedEx, it's the same kind of situation. The buyer does not provide you with a valid address, then you are probably going to receive this back. Thankfully, this only came back a week after I shipped it, but sometimes it could be weeks before you get that thing back. And just remember, it's not your fault. You are the seller. You did not provide the address. Now, it all starts with, and this is key, it starts with communication. Communicating with your buyer, okay? Don't just go in, however you decide to handle. There's a number of ways you can handle this. You can decide to offer them another chance to get this package back in the mail. Of course, you need to get a new address from them and they need to pay for the label. Don't let that money come out of your pocket. Or you could just say, you know what, I'm just going to refund this. I'm not even going to deal with it anymore, and I'll just refund the buyer, right? But don't just do that. If you're refunding the buyer and choosing not to give them an option to get this again, you got to communicate, guys. So for me, the first step is going over, find the transaction, click on the drop down where it says contact buyer, and I'm going to show you the message that I'm sending this buyer. How you choose to do it is up to you, but this is a step you should never skip. So you want to find the order in eBay, click on the drop-down menu, and then click on Contact Buyer. Now, this is the message that I sent the buyer today. I'm reaching out to you to let you know the package we shipped out to you came back to us as undeliverable. When this happens, we have two ways to deal with this situation. Since the shipping you paid was used to pay for the first shipping label, if you want us to reship this out to you to a different corrected address, we will have to charge you for the exact cost of the new shipping label. For us to do this, you'll need to send me the email address linked to your PayPal account so that we can invoice you for the cost of the new label. The other option is we can refund you minus the cost of the original shipping label. Please contact me as soon as possible so we can take care of this. If we do not hear back from you by the end of the week, we'll simply refund you minus the original shipping. I look forward to hearing from you soon. For me, this message gives the buyer more than one option, two options, and I'm a firm believer that if you give someone multiple options, let them be in charge of what happens. You know, I'm going to either do this or that. You tell me. I think that almost always goes over better than if you just arbitrarily do it without contacting them. So as you can see, the email that you're sending this buyer through eBay messages is really about like 5 or 6 sentences. You want to explain what the problem is on the onset, and here are my solutions, okay? Now, it may be that, look, you don't want to deal with shipping this back to them again. You don't want to deal with having them go and send you another payment for a label. Like the options that I gave them was they can either go to PayPal, give me their email address linked to PayPal so I can send them an invoice, and then they have to pay for that cost of the shipping label again. Because remember, once this is returned to sender, this label's done. You can't just, resend it with this same label. You can't use the funds that you already used to pay for this. That money's gone. So you have that option to charge them again, or if they're not willing to pay again for shipping, you simply just refund them minus the cost of the shipping, okay? So it's just the purchase price of the item that you're refunding the buyer. And I like to present that to the buyer, two options. Now, there's some people who will say, you know what, I'm just going to refund the buyer and be done with it, and that's your choice, however you want to handle that. To me, it's not that big of a deal. Either way is fine with me, but remember, that buyer still has an option to leave a feedback. And if they don't like how you handled that situation in not giving them a chance, maybe they really want this item, okay? And if you just go in and refund them, maybe say, while I'm at it, I'm going to block them, they really want this item, and maybe they made a mistake. We're all humans. Things can happen. Who knows? Maybe they moved. If you've ever moved before and you've had an old address, maybe in eBay, and that was the default, you never changed it. Maybe you just haven't bought an eBay in a while. There's a lot of reasons why buyers can make this kind of mistake. And I like to give the buyer a chance to rectify their mistake, okay? Because after all, we're all human. And if they're willing to pay for another label, I'm happy to send it back out. Of course, the easier option is B, to just go ahead and offer a refund minus the shipping. Don't take the hit, guys. Do not take the hit. Do not give them a full refund. Refund them minus the cost of that shipping label. Now, I'll tell them, like, look, 3 or 4 days, because not everyone's on top of their eBay messages like we are as sellers. Most of these buyers we're dealing with have a buyer's mindset where eBay is the last thing on their mind. Now, maybe they will be looking at their account wondering, where's this item that I just bought? So you want to tell them, give them a fair amount of time. It's Tuesday now when I'm making this video. If you don't contact me by Friday, I'll just go ahead and refund it minus the shipping. Okay, I've never had a problem doing it this way. And for me, communication is key when we're dealing with your buyers. Okay, don't just refund them without any explanation. Certainly don't just reship it without a new address, an updated address. If they come back to you and they say, okay, here's my PayPal address, invoice me, you invoice them, they pay you, and then they provide you with the same address, I wouldn't do it. I mean, then again, they're paying for the new label. I would let them know they need to give you an updated address, an address that is different from the one that they have provided you, because the post office has already determined that this address is undeliverable. So we don't want to deal with this again. And this maybe happens, 3 or 4 times a year, maybe once a quarter, at least for us. We've sent out close to 3,000 packages through USPS and UPS over the course of a year. And that's a really, really small percentage. So if you're selling maybe a handful of items a month, you may only see this once a year, if at all. But when it happens, you're going to want to know and remember how to handle it. It's not your responsibility to provide a valid mailing address. That's the buyer's responsibility. And if you use their address that they provide and it comes back to you, just remember this. If you remember nothing else in this video, it is not your fault. Okay? So work with the buyer, communicate with the buyer, but make it clear if they have any questions as to why do I have to pay shipping again? Because, people get all upset. Why do I have to pay shipping again? And the answer is because the address you provided didn't work. I paid to ship it to that address, and unfortunately, that money is gone. Now, if you have free shipping, if you have an item that you have shipping built in, then you want to get in there and say, look, we offer free shipping. We did ship it out. However, shipping does cost money. You gave me an invalid address. If you want this item shipped out to you, it's going to cost. Now, the way to do it is to go into your eBay labels, find out what you paid for the eBay label. It's the same package, so it shouldn't cost you anything more. If you're shipping it the same way, same dimensions, same weight, that's the best way to do it. And then invoice them for that amount, and then just go back into eBay. You should be able to run a new label that way. That's the easiest way. Of course, you can go into Pirate Ship, plug in the new address. But for me, it is simply going on to eBay, doing the edit address with the new address, and run the new label is probably the best way. Now, if it's a high value item, these are just $7 shoes, guys. If it's a high value item, then you're probably not even going to want to give them the option to have it reshipped. You may say, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to refund you minus the original shipping. I'm going to put it back up for sale. Please go in and put your new address in. That's another way to do it, so you don't have to be bothered. Maybe you don't have a PayPal account. Maybe you don't want to be bothered with invoices and all that stuff. Just simply give them the refund minus the shipping that was paid. and tell them if you want to go in and repurchase it with the new address. I'll have it listed here in a moment. That would probably be the best way to do it. But for me, for a $7 pair of shoes, I'm not worried about any kind of seller protection anyway. I just want to get this resolved so that the buyer's happy. So guys, I want to know what you think. How you handle it is your business. The way I do it may be different from the way you do it, but I just want to help those who may have never seen this before. Maybe you haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's coming to where you're going to get one of these in the future, and you're going to remember, John told me this is how to handle it, and it's just one less thing we have to worry about. So guys, if you enjoyed the type of content that I put out, please hit the like button. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that when I make another video or go live, you get to be notified. So return to sender packages, it's not pleasant to deal with. It takes time out of your day and is yet another example of how sometimes flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon.